the Christians meet at the same time, but they go to another room. So the Christians were there and the Muslims were there at the guard post. And the people that were going to Jummah all got strip searched, and I mean completely naked. And when the Christians came through for their Bible study, oh, go ahead, go through. And I just thought, okay, what's that all about? The first thing that I experienced of Islam was the adhan.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked Omar, I said, what is the beautiful song that this man is singing? And he said, yeah, it's not a song. He's calling people to prayer.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do. And I just said, wow, they call people to prayer.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Malik Klik, seorang mu'alaf asal Amerika Serikat yang sangat terkenal di TikTok karena dakwah ini, ternyata menemukan Islam di penjara keamanan maksimum, tempat dia menjalani hukuman. Apakah yang menyebabkan mu'alaf yang juga akrab dipanggil Malik ini bisa masuk penjara, lalu akhirnya menemukan, kemudian masuk Islam di sana?
Assalamualaikum, Ali.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah. Eddie, big fan. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, brother. So let's get right into your journey.
You know, as a 7-year-old child, you know, you picture church as this quiet place and, you know, you sing a couple of hymns and whatnot. But I go in as a 7-year-old child and I see people just crying and running up and down the aisles and rolling on, you know, around on the floor and speaking a language that I've never heard before. And it really scared the hell out of me. So I was holding my dad's hand. I actually ripped away and tried to run out of the church at that moment. I was told, because I asked my dad, what's wrong with these people? You know, why are they, you know, crying and shouting? And, you know, even people would stand up as if they were messengers of God. And, you know, I say unto you people, I have a message from the Lord. And I'm just looking at the person like what is this person talking about? Oh, this is crazy. But yeah, I was told that it was a spiritual language. It's a holy language from God that nobody understood except God. But this is just gibberish, 110% gibberish. They don't know what they're saying. They're just trying to bring a spiritual aura to the church. But at the end of the day, I know, you know, a lot of other Christians know that Christianity, well, the church is just a huge cash cow. It's all about entertainment. It's all about, you know, charging people's iman, if you want to call it, for Sundays, so they'll give more. It's just a big production, nothing more.
And you were actually someone who was going to what, 3 times a week? So you're going to a Bible study, you're going to the church, and you're also going to the youth groups, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you were doing that for quite some time, for years, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that's the way I was brought up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was just, you know, go to the church 3 days a week, and that was my life. I always believed in God as a young man. I always knew that there was a higher power. But the thing with me in the church and in the youth group is I never really latched on to Jesus being God. As a child, I always saw him as a father figure, a mentor, somebody to be like. And so I never really professed that he was God. I was just jumping through the hoops. Because here's the thing with a lot of Americans and myself, there's nothing else. There's nothing else. I was raised like Mus'ab ibn Umair, very well off. My whole family is in petroleum, my father, my uncle, my brothers, everybody. And so I didn't want for anything. So I grew up in this white bubble of Christianity. And so that was what you were supposed to be. If you're a white American, you are supposed to be Christian. You cannot be this, you cannot be that. No, this is what you're supposed to be. And so we accept it, and a lot of American citizens accept it because that's what they think, that's all there is. Mm-hmm. So there's nowhere else to go. I can't go to the brown religion over here, the Islamic people. I can't do that because I'm white. But where was Christianity from? Detroit, Michigan? No, it's from the Middle East. So I was constantly looking. I'm waiting and I'm looking for something to really enter my heart. And so I just went to Wednesday Bible study to strengthen my my Bible skills and learn more about God and the prophets and stuff like that. And it's hard to explain, but I'm just like waiting for something to happen where I can just like have the aha moment or something, or have that Iman burst or whatever you want to call it, being a Christian. But I never got it. I went to a Bible study one night on Wednesday, and we usually get to read 15 minutes before we get into the lesson of the Bible preacher or the Bible study leader. And so I'm reading, and I'm just, thumbing through, doing this just randomly. And I come across a verse that says, "No man can see God and live thereafter." Mm-hmm. So in my mind, my fitrah, as a 14-year-old boy, I'm thinking, sounds right. That sounds right, because, the majesty and the glory of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or God in that time. And then I come to the story of Jacob. And here, not only is Jacob seeing God, but he has a hold of the thigh of God, having a wrestling match with God. And I'm just thinking, what? Wait a minute. Over here, it said that no man can see God and live after that. And now Jacob is having a wrestling match with God. Not only that, Jacob defeats God. And I'm just thinking, I raise my hand immediately and I say to the Bible study leader, look at this verse over here. It says, yes. And then I said, well, look at this verse over here. Jacob is having, and he said, oh, I've heard these stories, but I didn't really know that was in there. And I'm just thinking, how can you not know? How can you not know a huge contradiction like that? You can't see God, or you can see God. You can see God over here and have a wrestling match and beat God, but over here, you can't see him and live. And so 14-year-old me was like, no, I have a serious problem with this, and I'm not going to let this go. I need to rectify my heart right now, because I'm about to lose faith. And he said, I don't know what to tell you, young man, except that you just got to have faith. And at that moment, I was just like, I don't want to have faith. I'm tired of just having faith in things that don't make sense. I'm tired of having faith in the concept of someone needs to die for me to be forgiven. I'm fed up. So at 14 years old, right then and there, at the Bible study, I checked out of Christianity. And, I still live with my father. My father's a very strict Christian. I couldn't listen to music. I couldn't have girlfriends, 3 days church. And what can I say? I jumped through the hoops of Christianity. I continued to go to church. I continued to go to the youth night, and I continued to go to the Bible study, but nothing was here. I had completely checked out.
How did Islam jump into the equation? Did you look into other religions? And then how did you get exposed to Islam?
I never even heard about Islam. And the first contact that I had of Islam, well, kind of a story to that. I got around, some rough people, got around some wrong people, and I actually went to maximum security prison. I wasn't really looking for anything. At the time, before I went to prison, and even while I was in prison, I had absolutely no moral compass. I mean, I was an animal. I was wild. I was a savage. I didn't care about your life. I didn't care about my life. I was just wild. And so I really wasn't looking for anything except to just do my time and get out. So I would say about 3 or 4 months into my sentence, I met a man who just randomly approached me on the yard, called Omar, and he was Turkish. And he approached me out of the blue. I'm just walking the track by myself, lone wolfing it. And he says, "Hey man, I just want to ask you something. I just want to ask you a question. What do you know about Islam?" And I said, "I don't even know what that is." Because again, I grew up in my white bubble. You just don't talk about those things. Those things don't exist, because in the Christian mind, those things are below. And so everything is below, and we teach the world we are the standard of what is right and wrong. That's what they say. So we walked the track, and so he began to tell me, isn't it strange, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put the sun 93 million miles away from the earth in perfection, and even though the sun is 93 million miles away and the moon is roughly 220,000 miles away, look, they meet and they cause, eclipses and stuff like that. And look at the creation, the trees and the ocean, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created everything for you. And he told me about Surah Ar-Rahman. And I was just like, okay, this is different. And so he used to just, him and I used to meet out in the yard and walk and talk. And he would make his da'wah, and then somehow I got into this combat mode where, wait a minute, so this guy is telling me everything that I had learned as a child is wrong. Okay. So I went to my Bible and I tried to defend my Bible. I tried to defend Christianity. I tried to defend my belief, right? Because this was totally something new and totally something foreign to me. But I couldn't. Everything that I had, every question that I had, he would smile and say, "MashaAllah, it's a very good question. Here's the answer." And I just kept on like, this guy has an answer for everything. Not only does he have an answer, it's good. Not only does he have an answer, it's backed up by his book. Not only does he have an answer, it's backed up by scientific proof as well. This might be what I've been looking for my whole life. And he gave me, one day he showed up, he said, "I want to give you something from me to you, but you have to make sure that you wrap it up in a towel, you take it back to your cell, and you keep it in a clean place." And I said, "Yeah, sure, man. What is it?" So I'm going to give you our holy book. I'm going to give you the Holy Quran. I said, "Oh, wow. Thank you. Yes, I would love to. I've never read the Quran before. I would love to." And so I took the Quran back to my cell. And the first thing that I did is I turned to the index. I mean, I got this book in front of me. I'm thinking that it's going to be some 1001 Arabian Nights type of stuff. You know, I don't know. And I open up the index and I start looking for names. Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Mary, Jacob, Ishmael, Isaac, Adam, Sheath. All the stories were there. And I just thought, oh, is it just like this book that I rejected when I was 14 years old? Oh my God, it's just like the Bible. Oh. But then I read it. And the first I think surah that I read was At-Takathur. Alhaakum at-Takathur. The things of this world are diverting you from the truth. And I just thought, that's me. I'm being diverted. Since I was raised so well, didn't want for anything, that's me. And so I kept on reading. Long story short, I used to read it every day, so much so that my cellmate told me, he like gave me a nudge one day. He said, "Hey man, it's dinner time, man. You coming out?" And I said, "Oh, yeah." Like I snapped out of it. He said, "Man, you've been reading that book since breakfast." And I said, "Have I?" Because I was just so engrossed by, it's hard to put into words, brother, but the humanity, the truth, the realness, the answers. It's like I felt like I was getting the real story that I wanted to find in the Bible. Now I found it, and and it was put in a way where my heart agreed with it, and it understood what it was saying. When I would read the Bible, it was just like, bro, what? How can this, I don't understand. How could this be? So my fitrah, as I read the Quran, was just like, yes. So in my mind, in the back of my mind, I considered what life would be like as a Muslim. Mm-hmm. And the shaitan entered the cell of the maximum security state prison that I was at. You can't be a Muslim. What are you talking about? The Aryan Brotherhood is gonna do this, and they're gonna look at you weird. Muslims might not understand, in the prison system, it just goes by race. So I was worried about all of these things. You know, what is your family going to think? People are gonna look at you like you're like a wannabe, like you're pretending to be someone else.
All these whispers started to come.
As soon as I imagined being a Muslim, as soon as my heart was like, I love this book. God, finally a book that I can understand. Months passed, and Omar and I always used to meet in the yard. And my arguments became less and less until they were silent, until I was defeated, until I just listened and I soaked up whatever he said. So when we came out, I would listen and he would speak about what Islam is. Mm-hmm. I would go back to my cell and I would just say, okay, God, as I was waiting for something to happen as a Christian, I'm waiting for something to happen now. I have always been true to myself, to embrace a truth wherever it came from. So if this is the truth, let it happen. Let something happen. Let something change. And so Omar came up to me one day and he said, hey, I was thinking about inviting you to Jummah. And I said, what's Jummah? He said, you know Sunday church? Yep, Sunday church for Muslims. We go on Friday. And so Friday came, And I didn't know what to expect. I've never been to Juma before. I didn't know what they were going to do. And so I get there, and the Christians meet at the same time, but they go to another room. So the Christians were there and the Muslims were there at the guard post. And the people that were going to Juma all got strip searched, and I mean completely naked. And when the Christians came through for their Bible study, oh, go ahead, go through. And I just thought, okay, what's that all about? And so we went into the multi-purpose room, and the first thing that I experienced of Islam was the adhan.
Mm-hmm.
So the brother was just like, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And I just, oh my God. And I asked Omar, I said, what is the beautiful song that this man is singing? And he said, yeah, it's not a song. He's calling people to prayer. That's what we do. And I just said, wow, they call people to prayer. They don't call Christians to prayer. You know, they all they want is they call you to pay your tithes, but they don't call you to prayer. So we said, okay, let me take you inside and teach you how to make wudu. And I made wudu for my first time. I went Juma as a non-Muslim, as a mushrik, and so I heard the adhan, and we're making wudu now, and I'm thinking, these people are performing a ritual purification for none other than God, none other than the respect of God. And I just thought, wow, yes, this is what I want. This is what Christianity is supposed to be. I mean, going to the church, there's no concept of the ghusl or wudu. You just show up.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought, wow, that's okay. Another thing that I'm impressed with. So we went to the main prayer hall in the multi-purpose room, and he said, it was before Juma. He said, just let me break it down for you. What's going to happen? He said, basically, it's like Sunday church, except we're going to sit on the floor, and the imam or the pastor is going to speak a little bit about Islam. He's got like a little message or a sermon. And then we're all going to stand up, and we're going to pray. We're going to read from the Quran. And I said, okay, so you guys stand up, or does he read the Quran to you when he prays, or what? He said, no, we all line up in one direction. And by the way, this imam, he doesn't read from the Quran. He actually has the entire Quran memorized. I said, Omar, now, that book that you gave me, that book that you gave me that's in myself, this book, he memorized the whole chapter, the whole book. He said, it's not strange. Millions of Muslims have the Quran memorized, and millions and millions and hundreds of millions all the way from the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There will always be people that memorize the Quran. And that right there was just like, okay, these people are no jokes. They are not a joke. They memorize the Quran, the whole book. It means that they care about the book. It means that the translation can't be lost. It means people can't say anything about the Quran like they say in the Bible. The Quran is the Quran, and that's it. It just kept on getting better. Like, whoa, I'm in the right place. Something's about to happen. I know it. And so, long story short, we sat there and we listened to the khutbah, and it came to the time for us to get up and pray. Well, for them to get up and pray, because remember, I'm still not a Muslim. And I didn't even go there with the purpose of becoming a Muslim. I just wanted to see. So Omar told me, look, could you sit over there by the side? We're going to all line up in rows and we're going to pray. So just watch us and then we'll talk to you later. I said, fine. So these big muscular, killers, thugs, ex-gangsters, ex-killers, ex-this, ex-that. Imam said, Allahu Akbar. And I saw a change in all of the Muslims' face and their demeanor. They all became humble in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I was just like, oh, I'm not in the prayer. I'm just sitting on the side, close to the second row, just like, okay. And I'm listening to the Imam recite the Quran, and I was just like, whoa, okay, it's taking off, it's getting better and better. And I decided, he told me to sit there, but no, I was there for answers. I was looking for God. I wanted to find God. I was looking for God my whole life. And, the Quran, the wudu, the truth of the Quran, no, I'm here for answers. So I got up and I went to the side of the front row and I did one of these. I was like, I looked at their face in the front row. I didn't care. I was there for answers. I just wanted to see them. And they were lost. They weren't lost. They were lost in the love and the adoration of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I just thought, oh, but if anybody wants to ask me, Ali, what did it for you? What made you become a Muslim? How did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala open your heart to Islam? It was none other than the moment when these prisoners, these Muslims, made sujood. That was it. It was at that point where Islam became completely irresistible, and I had to have it. Mm-hmm. And I decided right there, I'm going to become a Muslim. So after the Jummah, Omar came up to me. I had sat back down, and Omar said, so what do you think? And I said, Omar, I said something out of ignorance, and this is the ignorance of a lot of white Americans. I said something foolish out of ignorance. I said, I don't know. I don't see any white people in Islam. But you have to make an exception for me. I'm going to become a Muslim today, and I'm not leaving until you teach me, or you accept me, or show me the way how to be a Muslim. You're gonna make a consideration for me. And all of the Muslim brothers were like, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And Omar said, no, you can become a Muslim right now. Mm-hmm. And I just, I lit up like, I can. And we all sat in a circle in 1991 in October. And I said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh.